How bananas is this? This is the greatest business of all time. And I want to add an extra skill to your toolbox right now, all right? Because oftentimes, one of the questions that I get is, how do I evaluate land? How do I do land deals? Well, the guy I'm about to bring out has done over 350 land deals in the last few years. He's an incredible family man. The land sharks back there know him and love him and have been, right? Have absolutely changed the lives of so many people. He's got an incredible wife, Emily. She's somewhere in here. And it is my absolute honor. I've known him for years and years and years. He's helped my team really understand, really close land deals. He's going to take all the mystery out of this and put that extra tool in your toolbox. It is my absolute pleasure to bring Brent Bowers, the land shark, to the stage. Here we go.
Yes. Get up for it. All right. Thank you. All right, so I need this more than you guys do. Where's my rhino power? All right, thanks for doing that. So, golly, I can't believe I'm on the stage looking at so many beautiful faces, beautiful people. You guys are so stinking successful just being in this room. So it's an honor to talk to you guys. Where's my land sharks? Holy cow. All right, so bringing it. So when I get the opportunity to get text messages from like Joseph this morning telling me he's got a $5,000 deal and a $25,000 deal, and then we have Matt Burton texting me, just got 3 parcels of land under contract yesterday to the title company. That's what gives me the just the energy to be up here to talk to you guys and just to give it. So today I'm here to talk about the number one cash cow business. It's sellable, it's scalable, but here's the thing. Everyone is ignoring it. Everyone's passing by this stuff every single day. And I'm just gonna give you a brief scenario of how, or just really an intro of how I found this. It came from a problem. I'm motivated by running away from pain, not towards pleasure. Who is motivated more to get away from pain in here than pleasure? Okay, so I was expecting a lot more people to raise their hand than that. Who is more towards pleasure? Like, I want to do this because of the boats, the shiny objects, the time. All right, pain again? All right, I see there's more hands coming up this time. So mine was pain, and I was preparing for combat deployment number 3 to Afghanistan. I was in the military. We just had our first baby January 2016. That was a long time ago, by the way. It was many years ago now. So this is where the pain came from. I saw that baby come out, our first baby boy, and I no longer wanted to do that anymore. I no longer wanted to be away from home all the time. I no longer wanted that W-2 job. I no longer wanted to be told where to be and how long to be there. I was preparing, again, for another deployment. That was a year of preparing where I'm going to be away from my family for another year. Oh, and then there's the deployment of 9 months. Anybody in the military here? Anybody a veteran? God bless you. Thank you. I was a terrible soldier. I wanted out. I was no longer there. I was no longer mentally there. I was home with my family. What's going on? Like, I'm missing all this stuff. Like, fear of missing out. Again, the fear. So I started searching for answers. I found a couple podcasts. One was Wholesaling Inc. One was this crazy guy named Tom Kroll on there. It sounded like he just drank like 3 Red Bulls and a coffee. And he gets on there, he's ringing this amazing bell. And then I found other podcasts, and I started searching for answers, and I found land investing. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Land investing changed my life, and let's go back. Cool. All right, so it changed my life. You know, the guy that was barely able to graduate high school, if I was able to do this, I just want to pour into you guys that you're already doing it. You're just missing a lot of the gold. How many people in here buy and sell land? Okay, more than I expected. How many people in here spend a ton of money wholesaling houses, sending out letters, doing cold calls and text messages, and you get land leads, and you just do nothing with them? All right, now remember whose hands were up. And how many of you like to buy land deals? Guys, talk to each other. Start working things out. Start doing these deals. Some of the easiest, best ways. There you go, Brad. I love how you keep your hand up so long. The best ways to get deals right now for free, if you're a land investor, is, and I learned this from David Brizendine. He's in this room. He was talking about how they are sending videos to realtors, premier agents on Zillow. Anybody know how much that costs to be a premier agent on Zillow? How much is that, Tyler?
Depends on your market, but it can be up to about $250
$250
a lead.
a lead. Imagine how pissed off these realtors are when they get a $250 land lead and they're like, I'm not going to do anything with this, and I'll just pass on it. And then your video comes through their cell phone, whether you're using Boom Boom or if they have an iPhone, you send the video saying, hey, my name is Brent Bowers. I see you're in Colorado Springs. I see you're the premier agent in Colorado Springs. Send me your land deals. I'll pay you a commission. That's it. And then how about to the wholesalers that spend a tremendous amount of money every single month on marketing and mailing and texting and cold calling, and they're coming across these land deals and they're not doing anything with it, and they get your video message saying, hey, my name is Brent Bowers. I see you're a wholesaler out in Colorado Springs. I buy land. I'm the #1 land buyer. Send me your land deal. And by the way, my hand is my phone, if anybody's wondering what that was. That's the thing. These wholesalers are spending so much, you guys are spending so much money on these marketing channels, and you're passing by this pure gold. So hopefully I can show you today to stop doing that. Again, this is like an extremely sellable, scalable company. And the one reason why I got into land investing was to get my time back. I wanted to get out of the military. I wanted to put in that application to get the heck out. I no longer wanted the W-2 job, and this is how I did it. So right now, I already asked who's buying land in the room. I kind of know what's going on in here. But who is buying land right now? I don't claim to be the smartest person ever, but I like to see what the smart people are doing. And these guys have been in the news since I was in elementary school. Guys like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they are buying massive, massive amounts of tracts of land right now. So I just follow what the smart people do, what the smart money does, what the billionaires do with their money, because success leaves clues, right? That's why you guys are in this room. So why land? Why land? Why did I choose land? The #1 reason I chose land was because no one else was doing it. I didn't want to be part of the herd. I didn't want to follow the herd because I know, I'm from Okeechobee, Florida. Our biggest producer of income is cattle. So I knew one thing about herds: they get slaughtered. So no one's talking about land on HGTV or A&E TV. We literally have movie stars in the room yesterday and today. No one's doing a land channel. No one's making land sexy. It's boring. But here's the thing, it's pure gold. And I see you, Scott. So I see you there. So I'm going too fast here. I'll figure this clicker out by the time I get down from here. Simplicity. It's super simple. There's no moving parts. We're not having to send out a bunch of mailers and compete with other house buyers and going through and having these inspections, and we got to talk to the seller and send them to lunch so they're not here during our inspection and seeing all these cash buyers. And sometimes we say they're contractors, sometimes we say they're partners. I heard someone relating to that, right? It's you want to be transparent with your sellers of these houses, but on the other hand, it's you don't want to kind of explain to them what wholesaling and assigning a contract is. It's just too complicated. But with land, we don't have that. We tell the seller, look, we're not going to buy this land. Is that okay with you? Do you have any issue of me making a little money with this? I'm an Army officer. I'm just trying to support my family. This is going to be an additional, income stream for me. It's really my side hustle. I'm kind of new at this. And don't be scared, guys, to say you're new at something. I'm just getting started. I heard Mike talking about how he hung up on that seller on the phone. The easiest way is, I'm kind of new at this. I don't know that answer. And people will have compassion on you. Never claim to be the smart. Does anybody have a friend? They just know everything about everything. Do you like hanging out with that person very long? Do they suck your energy? And if you don't have a friend like that, you are that friend. I've been guilty of that, by the way. So, yeah, we'll move on from that. But this is really cool. I didn't realize my slides were right here. So simplicity. See, again, if I can do this, anybody can do this. God has blessed me to put me on the stage, that's for sure. So, I have the amazing support of my wife and Steve and all you land sharks and Emily, my wife in the back. Just anytime I haven't been successful in something is because my wife didn't agree with it. And I'll tell you, getting the backing of your spouse is pure rhino power. So if you think back, here you go, Brent. So, Brent Daniels, I'm Brent Bowers. A lot of people get confused. I think I've had some guys think or guys and girls think they're signing up for TTP, and they end up joining the Land Sharks. So I think it works out that we've got the same name, Brent and Brent. But I'm Brent Bowers, the landman. But it's just going back to the power of having your spouse, your partner, back you on these things. There's been some other things I've tried in my life that have absolutely failed. Many, many things have failed. And about 100% of the time is because my wife thought it was a bad idea. And I still tried it anyways. So just think of that. And I'm here to kind of give you those lessons. But going back to simplicity, there's no moving parts to land. There's just nothing on it moving. There's no contractors. There's no repairs. There's no unexpected expenses. And I'll keep getting into that. But the lack of emotion I want to go to next. The lack of emotion. Anybody in here ever buy a house or get a house under contract or buy a rental where the homeowners had raised their entire family there, 2 or 3 kids for 18 years, like how they have the drawing on the wall when they're like, 12 inches and 14 as they grow. My daughter asks me almost every month, like, Daddy, measure me. And sometimes she grows like an inch in a month, which is crazy. But that's emotional. That is the hardest thing to do, and I applaud you guys for doing that, to get some of these people to sell their homes at a massive discount because you provide the speed and the convenience. You provide a heck of a service, but it's really emotional. And sometimes it's 2 or 3 appointments and you're kneecap to kneecap, belly to belly. Sometimes sellers, who has had a seller cry on their shoulders? Holy cow. Like, it's pure emotional. With landowners, it's extreme lack of emotion. What we do is we go and find areas of demand, high demand for land. How do you see that? You go on Zillow, you go on Redfin, you go to the solds, and you click all filters. This is on Redfin. I'm giving you an example of Redfin. Do all filters, sold, and then select land, and then just look at the last 30 days. That's where the demand's at. You start to see these red dots on Redfin. That's where we go, and then we click on them, and we figure out, like, okay, what size parcel, how many sold, what's the price ranges, and now you know the demand, now you know the demand size. And we send letters, what we call land offer letters, purchase agreements, and 99 out of 100 of these people, they throw our purchase agreement in the garbage because not everyone's gonna accept our discounted offer. But that one person that signs it and sends it back or faxes it back to us or emails it back to us, I call them the land offer letters because we laugh out loud every time one comes back signed because we have a purchase agreement now that's assignable. We can put it on a multiple listing service and assign this contract to a buyer. And most of the time, these sellers give us like anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 months to buy this land from them, because they completely have no emotion over it. These sellers are frustrated. They're frustrated because they've been paying the taxes for all these many years, never done anything with this land. Or 20 years ago, they bought, Dimitri, do you agree with that? This guy, give a hand for Dimitri. This guy's doing this. Dimitri, how many land deals have you done from Belgium? Oh, so you're a crazy person. 250 to 300 land deals. Holy cow. But these frustrated sellers, like they bought this land 20 years ago in Colorado because it's beautiful, and they're going to build a cabin one day, and they just never get to it because life's happening for them. They sent children to college, and now they're sending grandchildren to college, and that land's still sitting there, and they've been paying these back taxes, and now they're behind on taxes, and they're frustrated, and maybe, one of them passed away, and they're just ready to get that monkey off their back, the stress off their shoulders. Dimitri, have you ever had land just given to you for free?
People offered it like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they offered it for free, and I wouldn't take it because it was only worth like thousands, and then some of those lots, they're now worth 20,000. So if I would have known, I would have taken it.
There's a reason why our rear view mirror is really small and our windshields are really big. So we just keep moving forward. $10,000 or $20,000 on one man's trash turns into another person's treasure. I've never had a piece of land that we couldn't sell, by the way. Everyone's always worried about, what if I get stuck with this land? Well, what if we had the buyer lined up before we even buy the land? Absentee owners, like we have a lot of owners that are out of state. My sister-in-law, she just inherited a piece of land, and she's not local. They're driving up and checking the land out, and it's frustrating, and it's aggravating, and it's stressful for her. So she's now a frustrated seller, a frustrated landowner. Behind on tax payments, we already talked about that. Some of my first land deals were behind on taxes. That's a very small list. We don't just do those, but those are like low-hanging fruit, very low-hanging fruit to get land that's behind on taxes. One of my best lists right now, guys, is the code violation list. How do you have code violations on land, right? There's like no house. They don't worry about paint and no graffiti, but there's high weeds, there's trash, there's broken down mobile homes, and there's broken down cars with no license plates. Code violation list. And most of the time, these things are free. You can get them from like Cora in Colorado. A lot of times you can get these code violations lists for free. All right, so next, all upside. What do wealthy people do? Wealthy people stick the upside in their favor. Guys, I did not set out to be a multi-millionaire in land. The land has absolutely appreciated, like Dimitri said. Wealthy people stick the upside in their favor, and I'm just trying to model success. Success has left me clues, so I'm doing it. Really, the reason why I got into this business was to have the time freedom. I got addicted to selling land on seller financing. My first land deal I bought for $285 in Palmer Lake, Colorado. Who in here is familiar with Palmer Lake, Colorado? Oh my goodness, small area. I bought this piece of land for $285. I didn't know what it was worth. I had no idea how to evaluate it. Me and my wife and one of my Army officer friends, we drove to it and looked at it, and there was a real estate office close by, and we called the real estate office, and I was like, hey, what's your blowout price? What's your 30-day get-her-done-now price? Because $285 to me in 2016 was a stretch. It was definitely a stretch, and I'm embarrassed to say that. I was in debt. I was sending a lot of postcards to homeowners, and I would send all these postcards. I'd spend a lot of money over at 3D Mail with Tara, and then I'd go to the field, and I wouldn't be able to take these phone calls, and these leads would just go by, and sometimes it's like seconds, not minutes. If you're not answering live when they call back or getting back to them within a few minutes, it's like having a roof leak during a hurricane, and like you just call every single roofer until someone answers. That's what these sellers are with houses. But land, they're not in a hurry most of the time because there's no emotion. So I called this real estate office, and I was like, hey, what's the get her done now price? Going back to that, and she's like, yeah, maybe $10,000. And I had this piece of land for $285 that I'm buying from the tax delinquent list from a retired CPA. The guy wasn't in desperate need. He was just aggravated. He was frustrated. He was behind on taxes. And he was about to lose the land. So the realtor tells me $10,000. I almost had like a little bit of a heart attack there. My heart like jumped up, and I was telling my wife what she just told me on the phone. I thanked her for her time. I said, I'll call you when I own the land. And I hang up. She calls me right back and makes an offer for $5,000. And she was lowballing me. She was really lowballing me, but I was like desperate. I was like, take it. Take it. You can have it. Send me the purchase agreement. Send me the contract. And she had it to me before I got home. Like the contract, the purchase agreement was in my inbox. I signed it. I called the seller. I said, hey, can I pay you on Tuesday, $285? He gave me a quit claim deed on Tuesday. I wrote him the check. I didn't do any title search, no title insurance policy. Dumb. I was getting emotional. Like, I was just like in a hurry. So I went and brought that quit claim deed to the title company, and they got it done. Wednesday, I went and picked up my $5,000 certified check. I was absolutely hooked. But the second parcel of land was even worse than the first one in Palmer Lake. The second parcel of land was not accessible. It's 5 acres in Colorado Springs. I couldn't access it. You had to trespass on state land, and I did do it once. I trespassed to go get the photos, and I got caught by one of the state officers, and he's like, look, don't let it happen again. I said, no, I don't have to come back. I already got my photos. And I was like, how is someone supposed to get to this land? He said, I don't care if it takes a helicopter. You cannot walk on the state land to get to your land. I said, okay. So I didn't think the land was that valuable. 5 acres just south of NORAD, west of Highway 115 in Colorado by Fort Carson, if anybody's familiar with that area. Well, I put it on Craigslist that day, $500 down, $400 a month. And sure enough, like that night, someone called me. I disclosed everything. I was like, you can't access it. You're gonna need an attorney. You're gonna spend $50 million trying to get this. But I think it's a good piece of land if you're interested in it. So he brought me $500 cash to my house and then paid me $400 a month. That's the one that hooked me. That's the one that changed my life. That $400 a month was now covering my truck payment at that time. It was like a white Chevy, piece of junk truck. I can't believe I was paying $400 a month for it. I still like Chevys, just that truck sucked. So that one changed my life, and it was a piece of land I thought was not valuable is now giving me $400 a month. And if anybody realized, I was profitable from pretty much like the first 30 days. Anybody here buy rentals? How long does it take you to become profitable on rentals sometimes? Like forever? So that one addicted me, and I remember telling Emily something to this tune because it was back in 2016. If we can just do this 10 more times, we'll be making like $4,400 a month. And that's all I needed to get out of the military. That's all I needed to quit my job. That's all I needed to get my freedom and my time back so I can, have breakfast with my children. The other day I was able to, something so simple, but most people aren't able to do it, is my son just wanted to have lunch at his school. So I was able, he wanted McDonald's, and we don't eat McDonald's very often. I'm addicted to it, by the way, so I stay away from it. So I ate before I went to McDonald's, so I was full already. But he just wanted to have lunch. And just being able to take that little bit of time, that hour, and I brought his friend lunch as well, just being able to have the time to do that and to manage my schedule to do that. When I was in the military or I had my full-time job, I wasn't able to do that. So it was just really getting my freedom back. So I'm going to kind of get going through a lot of this, like no property managers, no contractors needed. Sorry, contractors. This is not a bash on contractors, but basically we just literally had one of our rentals that we make about $1,000 a month gross rent. And yeah, I still have some rentals. I'm still recovering landlord. But one of them that we get $1,000 a month on, the mortgage is like $700 a month. We pay the property manager like 10% of that rent that comes in, the gross rent. So there's $800 expenses. We just had a sewer line go out, and then the next week it was the furnace on that same property, and then the following week the tenant said, "Hey, the house is starting to settle," and then we realized there was no gutters on this house. So in Colorado, if you don't have gutters, you're gonna have foundation problems. So roughly $15,500 spent on improvements of this house, and it wasn't even anything cool like a kitchen or a bathroom, something that can increase rents. So if I'm only making $200 a month net after expenses on this house, I did the math and it made me cry a little bit. 75 months until I'm profitable on this house, and that's a long time. That's like, how many years is that? That's a long time. So I'm not even going to claim I can do that math. I know it's over 5 years. But here's the thing, like something else is going to break in 5 years on this piece of junk house. Like it's an old house. And I heard Tom Kroll one time say, like, houses are like apples. Once they hit the ground, they rot or something eats them. So I started thinking about that. I was like, yeah, all of our houses are pretty much rotting to the ground. I mean, the government gives us all these incentives to write off and depreciate and cost segregate, so it really helps on taxes. But there's just a lot to it. And again, I talked about the no competition. And I'm serious. There's no tenants, no trash, no termites, no terminators. I'll get onto it. But the downside, there's a lot of risk of owning houses. There's a lot of risk of renovating houses and flipping houses and wholesaling houses. And then the expenses and the houses and the landlording. That honestly could turn into a job. And ultimately, I haven't had a job since 2018. I don't want a job. I want a business that serves me and my families and others that gives us financial security. So day one and forever profitable, how are we doing that? So Pace talked about all of his amazing students. Pace Morby yesterday, one of his students actually brought me a land deal that we got under contract on Friday, just before I came out here. Actually, the day we were coming out here. We got it under contract. And these two sellers are attorneys, by the way. And they never would have done this deal with me if it wasn't for having all these video testimonials. So they saw that as like, okay, you're doing business, you got a lot of video testimonials, we trust you. Anybody ever bought real estate from an attorney? Holy cow, like, they're so smart, and like, I'm just like, I wanna text them so I can think about my response before, because like they kind of like get you bound up, and then they wanna review the contract, and they're asking me what this means, and I'm like, I don't know, I didn't write this contract, I'm not an attorney. So we had to go through all those pains, but if it wasn't for those video reviews and testimonials, we never would have gotten it done. But here's what I mean by day one and forever profitable. We got this property under contract. My realtor in Florida, my land specialist realtor in Florida, and I'll tell you how to find a land specialist realtor, because those guys are like pure gold. Do you know what I mean, Dimitri? Like, you have the right land specialist realtor, they will help you make mountains of money. And how do you find the land specialist realtor? Remember I talked about, go on Redfin, go to the solds, go to land, go to the last 30 days to see what's selling. Once you click on everything that's sold, you just want to kind of scroll down and read who it was listed by and who it was bought by. Everyone know what I'm talking about? The listed by is the listing agent, the bought by is usually the buyer's agent. And I copy and paste those, and I'll paste it into like a Word document. After you click on about 10 of those parcels, you're probably going to see like Bob Brown is the same guy selling the land in Fort Myers, Florida. So Bob Brown's your person. Like, Bob Brown's going to be like, listen, on A through E Street, you have sewer and water. Those lots are worth like $25,000 more. But once you get to F Street, like, just F it, like, there's no water, there's no sewer, there's no electric. Those lots are a lot less valuable. So those are your land specialist realtors. But how we become day one and forever profitable is these sellers are allowing me and my partners, Pace's students, this is a free lead, by the way, once again, for land, to put this land on the multiple listing service for 6 months to find our buyer. So we're going to give these sellers a $15,000 down payment. He's going to finance it to us for 15 years at 5% interest. So we're going to pay this seller about $1,000 a month for 15 years for his land that's overlooking the water in Titusville, Florida. So our buyers, we're asking $30,000 down. That's enough money to pay the realtor, the closing cost, and the seller. And our buyer's going to pay us $2,200 a month. So about a difference of $1,200 a month for 30 years. So that's one land deal. You just do one of those a month for just a few years, I think you can really stack up a pretty decent income. That's how we get our payments. So in the beginning, I used to do 36-month payments. It was like really quick. I was like, I want my money back. And I don't know what I was talking about because I didn't have money into these land deals. But I wanted to pay off fast because everyone was giving me a hard time. Like, why would you do it more than 3 years? Well, here's what happens when 3 years. You get a lot of big payments, like $1,000 a month payments very quickly. But here's the thing that happens, like 36 months goes by like that. So we started doing these 30-year mortgages because the banks have set up these 30-year mortgages at like front and load interest for like 5 to 7 years. Anybody familiar with compounding interest? Like, those who understand it earn it, those who don't pay it. So we all have a lot of people have mortgages, and if you look the first 7 years, like, your mortgage doesn't go down. And most of the time, people pay these mortgages off in 5 to 7 years. So really, I'm not holding them for 30 years. But if these guys pay us 30 years of payments, We'll make over $600,000 net profit on this land deal with not a penny of our own money. And that's one land deal that just came to us. So I'm just showing you, like, there's so much gold, and so many people drive by land every day, and they have no clue how to make money on it because there's no houses on it. There's no ugly house that smells like cat pee and it stinks and it's falling down. And no one's fighting over this land because they're like, I'm guilty of it. I used to drive by this stuff every single day, and it's pure gold. We're passing. There's no mobile home parks on it, RV units, so everyone's ignoring it because HGTV hasn't made it sexy. 3 times over landlords. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Like most landlords, and I'm being very stereotypical right now, but like they're happy if they get $200 to $300 a month positive income. Like that's not cool. That doesn't go very far, especially when you have a septic system that goes out or whatever. So live anywhere, deals everywhere. So going back to that time freedom, me and my wife and my children, we took about almost all of the month of March off a couple months ago, and it's stressful for me because I love to work. I like to work, but it's like you can go anywhere and do this. So we went to Wisconsin for about a week, and then we went to our lake house for about a week, and then I went to Tampa for about a week. That was kind of business and fun, like because it was a mastermind, the family mastermind. And then I worked like 1 week in March, and then again in June, we're going to take 6 weeks to go to Costa Rica and take surf lessons and learn Spanish. So we can pretty much live anywhere, invest everywhere, because there's deals all over the place. I'm only investing in the United States. Like, I'm not looking at this land anymore. I used to go and look at all of it, and I'd come home and I'd be so excited, and I'd be like, honey, we can build a cabin on this land. It's beautiful land. And this was like the 10th time I did this, and I didn't realize it, but Emily was like, how many cabins do we need? So I stopped going out and looking at it because I was getting really emotional about this stuff, and I wanted to keep it all, and I just stopped going and looking at it. So you don't have to go and look at the land. You find that land specialist realtor to help you out, or you partner with someone. You squad up. You joint venture with someone that can go and look at it. This is the most scalable business, I believe, because I have a very small team. You know, I had 2 acquisition managers, and I had like 5 virtual assistants and an executive assistant and an accountant and all these people, and I was really starting to get stressed out because my phone was just like always ringing. I thought I built this business that was serving me and my family, and I was just running around like a maniac, and I forgot the reason why I got into this business was for the time freedom and just to get my freedom back and the financial freedom and having those monthly passive payments coming in that I was just building. I was in like scale mode, and then I started flipping houses to build up and boost my ego because I was like comparing myself to others and watching everyone on social media, Brent Daniels and Pace Morby and Jamil, and like seeing all these cool things they're building. And I started like getting unhappy because I believe that the thief of happiness is comparison. So I was looking at everyone else, and I was like, well, I need to flip houses too, and I need 100 doors, and this land is like, this is a joke. Like, this is boring stuff. I'm just a small-time land investor, and I was comparing myself to others, and I just had to take a step back because I didn't get into land to become like this huge, like, rich business owner. I really got into it so I can be home with my family and enjoy life because, you know, we don't have very long to see our children grow. So we have to enjoy these things. So I had to scale back. So scaling is very dangerous, and they're probably gonna pull me off stage by talking about this, but sometimes you scale too quickly and you cause a lot of issues. So we've now microed down. I have 1 acquisition manager, 1 executive assistant, and 1 bookkeeper. And it's me. And my phone stopped ringing. And the payments kept coming in. They keep coming in. And when they stop, sometimes the ugly part about seller financing land is sometimes you got to take this land back because they stop paying you. Guess what? We resell it. We totally resell it. I just sold one back to Andrew Haney that we were already profitable on, and Andrew's going to buy it. So we're going to sell it again. We're like double dipping. So yeah, a job gives you the obligation to have to work. A business gives you the options to work on your business. And then Tom Kroll said that. So exclusivity, I can't even say that word, scarcity and exclusive. So banks don't lend on land most of the time. Like, there's some land you can get lending on. Most of the time, if it's under $100,000, you're not getting loans from banks. But some, like that provides so much opportunity because most sellers know that not everyone's walking around with $50,000 or $100,000 or $30,000 in their pocket to be able to pay them the price that they want on this land. So they understand they're probably going to get a cash discount or a low ball offer. And then the second option is they're going to have to seller finance it to you. They're going to have to do what's called a seller carryback or give you these amazing terms. I can't tell you how many parcels of land that we purchased that the seller gave us principal-only payments. What I just said was 0% interest. So every time we pay a payment to these sellers, the mortgage goes down. So we do what's called like positive arbitrage. So if we pay the seller $500 a month and our balance is going down every single month, and our buyer is giving us $1,000 a month at 12% interest, his balance is going down really slowly. So we spread that out for many, many years, and that passive income comes in. There's never any contractors, no problems, no expenses. The biggest problem we ever have is they get late fee. Like they'll sometimes be late on their payments, or they'll stop paying. Those are really the two things. And this takes a lot of work to set up, but it's just really one land deal at a time. So guys, I gave you a lot of just kind of how we do this, but this is very simple. This is the most extremely simple business you'll ever run into. At the end of the day, we're buying land that's in demand. We're finding where the areas of demand are, and we're sending purchase agreements. We're not having to do a bunch of cold calls. This is a lifestyle business. You can set this stuff up to go out automatically. We're sending these land offer letters, these purchase agreements every single day, whether we're on vacation, we're resting, we're working, we're at these conferences, and these sellers get them and they sign them and send them back. Do they sometimes call? Yeah. Sometimes they just want to explain how frustrated they are that they paid this amount for the land and you're offering this amount, and sometimes it's pretty nasty words that they use. I mean, who in here has had those negative people that they cold call and interrupt their day? Randy, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. But these purchase agreements, they're just so much less aggressive. We're just sending them out on a constant daily basis. So I just wanted to teach you, I wanted to show you guys this. It's a compliment to what you're already doing. I can't tell you how many times that we've bought a piece of land and sometimes the house comes with it. And I'm sure for you house wholesalers, you buy a house and the land comes with it. So next time these sellers want to give you a piece of land or have you take the land as well, don't miss out on the opportunity, because you can buy this land at extremely cheap prices and sell it for what it's actually worth and seller finance it. Do you always have to seller finance the land? No, you can assign the contract to your cash buyers. And I absolutely 100% confidently know that, actually let me ask, who in here has a cash buyers list? I absolutely can tell you that you have cash buyers on your list that will buy vacant raw land, that will build spec homes, will build houses on it, because here's the thing, if you're flipping and renovating houses for long enough, you're going to get sick of the whole process. You're going to get sick of finding the can of worms or the hornet's nest, and you're going to want to control the process from the ground up. Anybody run across that yet? Any house flippers, they just got out of the business because they wanted to start building spec homes. You see them stop flipping houses. So guys, my time's running out. God bless. Thank you so much for having me.